We started these mighty conversations 2 decades ago, and there's no time like the present to talk about the things that are important. I'm Commissioner Khadijah, and this is the Mighty Six Conversations. Welcome to Mighty Six Conversations. I am Commissioner Khadijah of the Mighty Six Commission District of Fulton County, Georgia. We've got a lot to get to today. We have some mighty moments to share with you, and we will take a deep dive into the COVID-19 situation. I'll have a conversation with the top health officer who oversees public health for more than 1 million people in Georgia's largest county. She says if you thought we were out of the woods, that the pandemic is over, think again. And I will have a commissioner's comment to share with you too. But first, let's get to some of the mighty moments making the news in and around the Mighty Six. Here's Mighty Six road warrior Rick Blaylock with today's mighty moments.
Happy Juneteenth, everybody!
We start today's road trip in downtown Atlanta, where in June this year, for the first time, we recognized Juneteenth as an official holiday. Mighty Six District Commissioner Khadijah was the Grand Marshal for the second year in a row. After the parade made its way from the state capitol to Centennial Olympic Park, a 2-day celebration was underway, along with an observance with festivities and, yes, a message about community engagement.
And so until we have these uncomfortable conversations, or more importantly, empower the community to let them know that they are the ones that affect the change. The change starts with them, not us. We help to lead the change, but the change is self-propelled and self-powered through the people. That's why I always say power to the people. It's not a tagline, it's not a shirt, it's not something that we just raise our fists. The power truly lies with the people.
Also, even as the doors open this fall for school, we bid a fond farewell to our 2022 Fulton County Mighty Six Scholars. The county recognized the salutatorians and the valedictorians at the newly renovated Central Library downtown. And everyone wished them well as many head off to college this fall. Now, depending on how fast you drive or what route you take, the Mighty Six Road Warriors zipped over to Union City in the southern part of Fulton County for the groundbreaking of the soon-to-be Arcadia Cold Storage Atlanta facility, a massive plant that will provide cold storage for suppliers and vendors of food all across the southeast United States.
This operation will bring new awareness to many of us who know very little about the refrigeration and cold storage business. The average citizen's knowledge extends probably to the refrigerator, and I'm showing my age, the ice box in their kitchen.
This will be the site of 2 buildings, and the Arcadia building itself will be about 306,000 square feet. We intend to have about 44,000 pallet positions is what would go in there for product storage and handling. And ultimately about 100 thereabouts direct and indirect jobs that we are looking to fill over the next probably 6 to 8 months, and looking for a really positive outcome for our customers.
Surely an economic shot in the arm, it will bring dozens of new jobs to Union City and Fulton County. It was a hot day for sure to break ground for something that will be ice cold.
Big deal. So this is a big ice box, huh?
Yes, it's minus 10 degrees inside the freezer. It's about 45 foot to stacking height inside. It'll be a 55 foot to the bottom of deck inside the building. So it's really a 55 foot tall building.
Back now in the heart of the new District 6 in Adamsville. Community leaders and citizens came out to cut the ribbon for the new senior health center operated by Centerwell. It's a one-stop shop for health needs of senior adults right on MLK Drive near Fairburn Road.
We're really excited to be in the Adamsville community opening this Centerwell Center. It's so important to this community because we see that there's a lack of quality, access to quality care, state-of-the-art facilities, and representative care. And so we brought this Centerwell clinic and model to this community to, quite honestly, just to close those gaps around it. This is a community with a lot of history, with a lot of pride, and we feel like the seniors, who are often the most vulnerable in our population, deserve the best care that they could possibly get.
Well, that's all the mighty moments we could pack in this segment this time around. There'll be plenty more down the road. In the meantime, that's it from here for now, until we hit the streets again and get back on the road in and around the Mighty Six. I'm Road Warrior Rick Blaylock. Now I'm back to you, Commissioner Khadijah, in Studio M6.
All right, Rick, thanks. Coming up, Chief Health Officer Dr. Lynn Paxton has got a warning you may wish to heed as school is reopening and kids are back in the classroom. The Mighty Six conversation on the coronavirus and COVID-19 is straight ahead after a short break.
There's much more ahead. The Mighty Six will be right back.
While there has been nothing like what we saw at the height of the coronavirus pandemic in deaths and hospitalizations, health officials say COVID-19 is making a comeback. Joining us now is the head of the Fulton County Board of Health, Dr. Lynn Paxton. Remotely, I might add, as we are still in a pandemic. Thanks so much for taking the time, Dr. Paxton, to join the conversation today.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioner Khadijah, for having me.
I inherited this show from the late Commissioner Emma Darnell, my mentor, who started these Mighty Six conversations 2 decades ago. This being my first time in the host chair, I wanted you to be my very first guest. Because you know, in July, the President, Joe Biden, caught COVID. Many people were thinking we were out of the woods with the coronavirus pandemic. You're our Chief Health Officer. What say you?
Well, I would say that we are in a different situation than we were 2 years ago, or more than 2 years ago, when the COVID epidemic started. We're in a different situation because we have now vaccines, which we did not have at the beginning. And we also have dealt with a number of different variants now. So what we are seeing as for example, what we're seeing with President Biden is vaccinated and boosted. So his case of COVID is very mild, and that is a good thing, and that is a result of the vaccinations that he has had. But unfortunately, the latest vaccine variants that we have been seeing are they're more easily escape immune control, which means that they're much more transmissible than prior versions of the Omicron variant. And for people who are vaccinated, though, many of them are having milder episodes if they do contract it. But what we are seeing is that still people are dying, and in Fulton County, over 90% of the people who are hospitalized for COVID and the people who are dying of COVID are unvaccinated. So even though the vaccines that we currently have may not be completely protective from your even getting COVID, they are extremely effective at keeping people from getting very sick from it.
So it sounds like that we really are not out of the woods yet, are we?
We're not out of the woods yet. This is something, what we are watching is we are watching in real time the evolution of a pandemic. In that this is not, for those of us who've spent our lives in public health, this is not an unusual scenario in which you have a new agent that comes in. There is no background immunity in the community, and whatever this agent is, exacts a very, very high toll. However, then, as the population develops immunity to that, whether that be through a vaccination, which we were very lucky to get in the time frame that we did for COVID, or through being exposed multiple times to the agent, then you often see that there's a sort of a background immunity in the population that makes starts to bring down the severity of the disease in that population. So this is kind of following a pattern that we have seen a lot in the past with other diseases. But it is very correct to say that we are nowhere out of the woods. We are still seeing every day in the United States as of the time of this interview, we're in the United States, we're getting about 300 or 400 people a day still dying. And I read just this morning an article about what can we expect as COVID becomes more endemic versus pandemic. And it's still going to exact a terrible toll, because it is estimated that in the United States that we could expect that for the foreseeable future we'll have somewhere between 100,000 to 250,000 people, Americans, dying every year of COVID. That is way more than what we would see with the flu, which people are always saying, oh, this is just the flu. It is not the flu. And in addition, the phenomenon of long COVID, which is lingering symptoms, often debilitating symptoms, we are expecting to see that that's going to just keep rising and rising and rising. So we are far from being out of the woods on this, with this epidemic.
Dr. Paxton, we need to take a short break. Stay right there. When we come back, we'll talk about COVID, kids, and schools. Students are back in person, in the classroom. Is everything fine and dandy, or do we have reason to worry? We will continue the conversation in a moment.
There's much more ahead. The Mighty Six will be right back.
The Mighty Six conversation today is COVID-19 and the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Back with us for the conversation is Dr. Lynn Paxton, District Health Director for Fulton County Board of Health. What about young people? School is back open and kids are back in the classroom. Dr. Paxton, what is the latest on children getting vaccinated?
Yes, well, the vaccines are now available for use in younger children, and so it is definitely recommended that parents should get their children vaccinated. Now, it is clear, and it's a good thing that a child who gets infected with COVID is much less likely than an older person such as me or somebody even older than me to become very ill. But they are as likely as anybody else to pass it on to somebody else who might not do very well with that. So as a measure of helping to control the disease, it is very good to get children vaccinated. And I also don't want to discount, there have been kids who have died from COVID. There have been children, we're seeing more and more children who are developing long COVID. And it's just kind of just miserable anyway to get COVID, even if you only have a COVID for a week or two. It's not necessarily easy disease. So there are benefits to the child, him or herself, of getting vaccinated. But then there are also benefits to society of increasing our safety net of people who are immunized against COVID.
In Fulton County, what is your recommendation to parents, citizens, and policy leaders like me, elected officials? How can we keep people safe as we head into the fall, with the pandemic still a reality?
Well, there is a tool out there that we already use from the CDC to help guide people's decisions, and it's a color-coded system which has levels of green, yellow, and orange. And what goes into the system is a combination of the number of cases of COVID that a particular locality, community is seeing, coupled with measures of strain on the hospital system. And so that information is available to anybody who wants to go on the CDC website or wants to go on the Department of Public Health website or call us. But and so we have a way we can say, okay, we're in the green zone. If you're in the green zone, which means that your hospital system is not being stressed, that there are not as many cases in the community, well, then it's just recommended that you don't necessarily need to wear a mask indoors unless you choose to, or you have some some underlying condition that makes you more at risk. It is always recommended at any color stage that if a person has symptoms that they should go get tested, and that everybody should be up to date. And when we say up to date, we mean on their vaccinations, we mean that they got the full series, the full 2 shots in the beginning, and have had any required boosters since then. Now, then in the recommendations differ as you get into move into the from the yellow to the orange zone. And at the moment, as of today, we are in the orange zone. And the recommendations are that everyone should be wearing a mask when they are indoors in a public location. And the same advice still holds true for everyone, that you should be up to date on your vaccinations, and if you have any symptoms consistent with COVID, you should go ahead and get tested. I do recommend that people look for information on the Department of Public Health website or the CDC website, because there are treatments for people who are in the early, who have COVID and are within 5 days of developing symptoms. We have very effective treatments such as Paxlovid, that is an oral antiviral that they can take. However, in order to get that, it's important that you get tested so that you know that you're infected, and that you can seek out care at a pharmacy or from your doctor to get this drug. So that's another reason why it's important that if you have symptoms, go ahead and get tested. You can also use rapid tests to get tested, and I urge people, the federal government is making free rapid tests available to everyone. And all you have to do, it's super easy, I've done it several times myself, is you go on the U.S. Postal Service website, and you can order 8 tests to be sent to your house, and it usually arrives within about 2 days or so. So I would urge people to order those. They're free. Keep them around. So if you develop any symptoms that are you think might be related to COVID, then go ahead and get yourself tested. You can also consider doing a test like that if you know that you're going to be around somebody who's vulnerable, and you want to make sure that you're not going to inadvertently infect them because you are asymptomatically infected. Have a test and take a test.
All right, a wealth of good information and critically important. Dr. Paxton, we will share your website and hope you will join us for another Mighty Six conversation in the future.
Okay, well, again, thank you very much, Commissioner Khadijah, for having me here.
Coming up, a commissioner's comment you don't want to miss. It's all a part of the Mighty Six conversations. Back in a moment.
Stay tuned. The Mighty Six will be right back.
To co-op Lin-Manuel Miranda, can I be real a second? For just a millisecond? Let down my guard and tell the people how I feel a second. People, a conversation is not a monologue. You must participate. Your government in action must be a dialogue, which means 2 or more people engaged in a discussion on things that matter, on things that are important. For example, the Board of Commissioners will soon be deciding what to put in the 2023 budget. The county's general fund, and together with all the other funds, is about $1 billion. That's right, we spend about $1 billion of your money each year. These are your tax dollars at work. But just what will we put them to work for? As a wise woman commissioner who came before me used to say, who pays? Who benefits? My office, the Mighty Six Commission District, will hold in-person and online special town halls this fall so we hear from you on what you want in your Fulton County budget. It's not up to the county staff, the county manager, or anyone else to decide. You, the people, decide and convey that to us as commissioners. Our job is to make sure that your will be done. When it comes to your money, will it mean more resources for our libraries, health and human services, resources for children and youth, senior adults? How much should we spend on the jail and the courts? What about clean air, clean water, and yes, even detention ponds and sidewalks? Make sure your voice is heard at the budget hearings and my special budget town halls. If you fail to speak up, don't complain when you feel you have been let down. And that's Commissioner Khadijah's comment for today. I remain in your service as the caring commissioner, the compassionate commissioner, but baby, oh baby, the fighting commissioner. Be well, be blessed from the Mighty Six.
Connect with the Commissioner on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and CommissionerKhadijah.com. Let's hear from you. Write us at mighty6@fultoncountyga.gov or call the Mighty Six office at 404-612-8222. The views and opinions expressed on the Mighty Six are those of the participants.